Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Absolute Batman issue 11 by Scott Snyder, Clayman and Ivan Placentia. The secret origin of Bane is revealed this issue by Alfred of all people, as through a series of journal entries, Alfred laments how he wished he was able to tell Bruce what he wanted to before he set off from Arkham, that being the story of Bane and how he breaks your back. As Alfred scribbles away, Bane, along with a few other soldiers, arrive in Gotham via speedboat from Arkham, looking to bring death to Gotham. In the far past, a child who would become Bane is born on a battlefield, his mother dying in childbirth and leaving his father, a freedom fighter, to look after him as his people try and liberate Santa Prisca, their homeland, from those who want to take the island nation's riches. Snyder keeps a lot of Bane's original origin intact, but is sure to make it absolutified in some way, making it unwavering in its brutality, like a child born on the middle of a battlefield, bullets and explosions going off around him. It's just birthing this guy into a world of pain and suffering. The young Bane, while helping his father with the revolution, takes some jojoba seeds, hoping to have the vision of the Quetzal, the bird his father once saw in a vision, and one that he thinks will help shepherd them and Santa Prisca to freedom and peace. Instead, however, Bane sees a horrific vision of a white burning bird with a back that looks like a skull. Bane uses this vision as his symbol, rallying people behind it and using it to help take the capital, although after only holding it for 3 days, they are captured by foreign troops. I adore this idea of Bane having a Batman moment here with this bird, using it as his symbol, like how Batman used the symbol of the bat. And while Batman uses it as a symbol for himself, Bane uses the symbol as a symbol for his people and for his cause. Bane is also a lot like Batman here in that he's birthed by tragedy and he finds himself constantly fighting for his life and for his homeland. In this case, Santa Prisca, whereas Batman's fighting for Gotham. Bane, his father, and others are tossed into a hellhole of a jail where the cells flood every night, bringing with it rats and dead bodies. Bane is forced to learn how to hang from the ceiling bars to avoid drowning and being eaten by the rats, instead eating them for sustenance. One day, when a computer is smuggled into the prison, Bane sees a picture of the Quetzal bird for the first time, finding it to be feeble and weak. Bane remembers his own burning bird despite his father still ranting about the Quetzal being assigned to him. Soon 11 years pass and Bane and his father rally the men under the symbol. In the present day Gotham, Bane kills his way through some National Guards who are trying to enforce a curfew on Gotham. In the past, Bane and his men lead a prison breakout, blowing their way to freedom and into a new Santa Prisca, which is being warred over for its rare earth elements now, not its land. I always like the little details that Scott Snyder provides in stuff like this, whereas the last issue we saw all this really cool stuff that Batman was doing to get out of Arkham, like using guano to make bombs and using his own stomach acid to burn the eyes out of a guard. And here we have Bane using a garrote wire he made from fish guts to strangle some of the guards and get out of the prison. That's hardcore stuff. And again, there's those parallels between Batman and Bane and how they're very resourceful people, and when backed into a corner, they are at their most dangerous. As they escape the prison, Bane's father gifts him a mask made from the symbol of his white bird, and this is where we get the classic Bane mask reveal, showing it that it was the bird he saw in his vision. Again, the Batman comparisons are really there now, with them both wearing the symbol of a flying creature. Even Bane returning to a world he doesn't recognize, a world that has moved on without him, is so cool and very Batman-like. Bruce returning after his journey around the world to learn the skills, returns to a Gotham that's completely different than when he left. As Bane and his father escape on boats, his father calls him the Quetzal, the bird of his vision, the vision of peace. But Bane knows his father is wrong and believes that his bird, the white flaming burning bird, is the right vision of a future for Santa Prisca. As they approach the beaches of Santa Prisca, Bane begins thinking about how to deal with the army that will be waiting for them, but instead of an army, they find a chopper and a sharp-dressed man along with a bunch of scantily clad women. So it's not overtly said or mentioned anywhere in the dialogue, but this guy is 1000% Joker. got the white suit on, he's got the purple accents in the suit, he's got the yellow irises. It's Joker through and through. Joker welcomes Bane in with open arms, giving him some very tempting offers. So I love Bane, ever the soldier, is just kind of clocking everything that's going on around him, keeping his eyes out for what's happening around him. And he sees some things that he probably shouldn't have seen and that we, the audience, probably shouldn't have seen. And I like that we get to learn a little bit more about the Joker because of it, because the Joker is a fucking weirdo in this universe. Like, he's a weirdo in every universe, but here Scott Snyder is building him up as a bona fide body horror, life force stealing weirdo. And here we get to learn stuff like the women that Bane sees that are surrounding Joker seem to have something writhing and wriggling around in their stomachs. Now, this is obviously probably those fetuses that Joker was drawing life from when we last saw him at the end of one of the issues. He was like sucking the life out of a fetus or something. There's real fucked idea of what the Joker is, and I love that Snyder is going there with this version of the Joker and making him just a fucking creepy body horror weirdo. Bane doesn't say anything to Joker's offer, and he soon leaves, and Bane's father is relieved his son didn't take up any offer, hugging his son and hoping that he can see the dream of peace he has for Santa Prisca. Bane can see it as he crushes his father, killing the man painfully and slowly. So I'm guessing Bane did take Joker's offer. It's not outrightly said if he did, but the stipulation here seems to be that he needed to kill his father in order to complete his own vision of what Santa Prisca can be, not the weakened Quetzal version that his father saw. Here we also see it diverges from Batman, as Bane is doing whatever it takes to save his homeland and bring peace to it, but Batman won't go over that line, at least from what we have seen so far. Bane continues pushing over those lines as he becomes an assassin for the Joker, killing people across the world for the villain. Alfred mentions that this is where Bane, as we know him and as he knows him, emerges as he kills across the continents, driving Joker's company stock prices up while ruining his competition. While assassinating various heads of state and titans of industry, Bane also begins using venom, a chemical compound that not only allows him to control all of his muscles, but it also is pumped directly into his brain, allowing him to store multitudes of information and knowledge, more than the normal human being can, storing things like battle strategies from the beginning of war to modern algorithms, making him a master strategist. Now, this is a fucking cool explanation of venom, making it more than just a drug that makes Bane go big and angry, making it also affect his cognitive muscles and his brain is actually a really cool idea, and I kind of like that it puts him on the same level as Batman in terms of being a master strategist. And Bane has always had that sort of thing about him where he's been a very smart guy, and people seem to underestimate him when they see him because he's, you know, big brute strong guy, and a lot of fans do as well. They think that that is all he is, where Bane is actually a very, very smart character, and I like that this is Scott Snyder putting his own stamp on that and feeding it directly into the venom, and the venom he uses to become big and strong. It's making his brain big and strong as well. In the present, Bane fights Batman again, and Alfred knows that Bruce will confront the villain again and have a good plan for it, much like how Bane had a plan for Santa Prisca, since that was his Gotham. Alfred also knows that despite Bruce's well-laid plan to lure Bane into a group of parked cars so he can blow them up, it won't be enough, and Bane will survive, attacking Bruce head-on. So this issue isn't actually drawn by series regular Nick Dragotta, it's drawn by Clay Mann, who's no stranger to Batman, and boy is his work fantastic. I love his terrifying version of Bane here. Bane is already in this universe massive, and I like how Clay draws him here as the sentient walking muscle that Nick Dragotta was drawing him as, and I like that he gives him that toothy grin and makes it like stand out a little bit more than Dragotta's work did. And it's just terrifying having this like grinning face, like static face in your face while he's like killing you and ripping you apart. The violence Clay also injects into this fight is just unrelenting. There's blood and viscera and broken bones galore all throughout this sequence, and it's pretty hardcore, and they're straining that age rating on this comic, I think, a fair bit here. Batman, beaten down by Bane, grabs his battle axe, embedding it in Bane's shoulder, but it does little to stop the villain. Alfred knows that no matter what Bruce does, he cannot beat Bane since he knows every strategy Bruce will employ, but he also knows what Bruce is since he was once like the hero. and he knows the hero will not go over that line. Bane grabs the battle axe from his shoulder, which is like a toothpick in his hand compared to Bruce's, and he uses it to cut Bruce's arm off, demanding Bruce open his eyes and watch. He cuts off Bruce's left hand as well, as Alfred writes that Bane, after many years, have figured out what that bird was, and it was a creature that appeared in almost every culture in some way, the Phoenix, the bird which burns and is reborn. So this is a real neat take on Bane and his mission, and I love the idea of a righteous villain. I always like a righteous villain, you know, the one who has bought into their own bullshit and believes they are doing the right thing, and Bane has taken that to the nth degree as he sees himself as the fire that will burn up Batman and then remake him into something new, something that he believes will be able to save Gotham. Also, I just don't want to gloss over the fact that Batman had both his arms just carved off. Like, holy shit, how the fuck is Scott Snyder going to like square this circle? This is like a big idea, and maybe he does a little bit later on in this issue, but right now this is just insane. Batman has no arms, basically. Batman's been hurt in the past, sure, but this is just thoroughly over the top and violent and a great way to do it, and it just fucking rules. Bane isn't done with the armless Batman. He takes the battle axe and begins beating Batman's face in, demanding the hero open his eyes as he cracks the solid metal piece against his skull, fracturing it and finally caving in Bruce's head, breaking the battle axe completely. With Batman broken, literally and figuratively, we get some more of what Alfred thinks about the Joker and who he actually is, revealing that he's been after him this entire time, and that instead of Bruce being the one in Crime Alley that night that his parents died, usually that's where he is when his parents are gunned down by Joe Chill, that actually happened to the Joker, and the Joker was dressed up as a clown when it happened, hence why he's kind of fucked up a little bit. Snyder has been doling out these really small details about the Joker in the universe, and you'll get something like this which is like completely different than what we usually see with the Joker. Then you'll also get things where like, oh, he's constantly making jokes but he's not laughing at them, or like he doesn't really seem affected by humor or anything like that. Something that, you know, might be a little bit more of a classic Joker thing. So I like that there's this combination of like classic and like new and refreshing takes on the character, which is something I never thought would actually happen, especially because Scott Snyder wrote like a seminal Joker story in his New 52 run. He's written the character quite a fair bit, and he still has something to give to this character and make him new and refreshing, and that is completely admirable. Alfred theorizes on what Joker told Bane all those years ago, thinking that he told him about how he can keep waging war on the island over and over, but he sees Santa Prisca that can be thriving again thanks to peace and thanks to what he offers him. Alfred's journal continues as the disfigured and dismembered Batman is taken back to Arkham and prepped for surgery, which Alfred knows that most subjects won't survive, only hearing of a handful that have, like the KG Beast or the Man in the Middle East. The idea behind this surgery seems to be that they want to make people like Bane, like warriors of a new army that will serve the Joker and bring quote-unquote peace to the world's cities and country. It's such a cool idea because Batman is being put through what is essentially a DC version of Weapon X, only somehow Snyder has made it even more fucked up than Weapon X is. Alfred knows a man named Deathstroke, his old partner, also went through the same surgery, but like the others, he failed to go through with the full procedure. However, the candidates all became something new. Bane, however, thinks that Bruce could be the first one to pull it off because he sees himself in the man, something worthy of the bird with the skull across its back. Bruce undergoes the gruesome and taxing surgery and is transformed into something else, as while the surgery plays out, Alfred reveals that Bane often goes home to Santa Prisca, which has become a free paradise, a paradise where he has a wife and child. Now this is the most surprising part of this, that Bane has a family and kind of has like a good life back on Santa Prisca, away from like Gotham and what he's doing at Arkham. It's also kind of proof that his way of working is actually working and he survived it. Bane visits his father's grave with his son, showing him the symbol of the white bird engraved on the tombstone. Alfred knows that he should have told Bruce all of this because this is what Bruce is being offered by Bane, a way to become the hero Gotham needs. So here's where we finally see what has become of Batman now that he has undergone the surgery, and holy fuck, Bane has turned him into a Hulkified version of Batman, powered by Venom and with the bat symbol bolted directly into his chest. It's one hell of a shocking look, and I can't believe Scott has gone there with him. Like, this completely changes what Batman could be and what he can act as. So how the hell does he come back from this? Like, how would he, if he is changed into this, come back to being just like the normal absolute Batman we've grown to know and love? Now, not to put water over the fire, but this is kind of sort of like a vision sort of thing. This is kind of Alfred theorizing of what Bruce might come to be if he ends up, you know, bending the knees, as it were, to Bane, breaking his own back and offering it up to Bane. He thinks that this is what Batman could become. And I kind of like how it's framed as like, this is what he is going to become if he breaks, but he knows Bruce won't break because Batman won't break. And we've seen that just in the last couple of issues when he's been trapped in Arkham. He just refuses to break, and Bane sees that, and Bane knows that that won't actually happen since Batman is unbreakable, and he's still out there in the city, you know, because he escaped Arkham, and he's out there biding his time. So to ensure Batman shows himself and confronts him directly, Bane decides the real way to break Batman is by breaking his friends. So he storms Wayland's gym, confronting Harvey, Edward, and Oswald. The rug pull here revealing that the Batman we see is just a possible what if in future is just so fucking good. Alfred being Bruce's consciousness and kind of guiding him through this story, using his own experiences with Bane and what he's seen Bane accomplish is really quite cool. And it's just such a smart idea because it's building up all this like there's no hope for Batman really. Like he cannot go up against this because it's like the immovable object meets the unstoppable force sort of thing, where there's these two people and they just won't move out of each other's way, and that's going to cause so much devastation. And Alfred is completely well aware of that, and he has no idea how to stop it. As for Bruce's friends, I guess this is how they get turned into quote-unquote villains, or not so much villains, more so monsters, much like how Killer Croc got turned into a monster. I imagine they're going to be turned into weird homunculuses like we saw in the last issue, and I can't wait to see what Scott Snyder has in store for them. Like, what is he going to turn Two-Face into? What is he going to turn the Penguin into? The mind boggles at what he has in store for us, and I just cannot wait. Absolute Batman issue 11 was so goddamn bold, cold, and just plain fucking awesome. Scott Snyder has an extreme and refreshing take on Bane here, what he stands for and what his mission is. I love the parallels he's drawing between Bruce and Bane, making them kind of fucked up kindred spirits in how they want peace for their respective homelands and the lengths they will go to get it, with Bane believing that his way is the right way and he wants to give Bruce the right way to help save his town. I thoroughly enjoyed every issue of this series so far, but this issue was on a whole nother level, and Scott has to have one hell of a final act plan for this Abomination storyline to follow up this issue with, because goddamn, I have no idea where the story is going to go from here, since all bets are off, nothing is off the table, and I'm so excited. This is the best Batman has been in a very long time. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.